This video was pre-recorded before a non-existent studio audience. How you guys doing? Comic Cosmos here. Top 10 best albums of 2019. My personal choices. These are albums that came out in 2019, with the exception of one that came out in September of 2018. Let's get started. Now, most of these I physically own a copy of. There's 3 that I bought just digitally only off Amazon. And I think only one of them was because that's the only format it's available in right now. But I'm a big fan of actually having the physical media. I don't know, just old school mentality and collector items. Some of these actually probably will be collector items in the future, but some of these are also to support the artist directly. A lot of these I was able to buy nearly directly from the artist off their website or through a shop that they run or manage or have their people run, compared to just getting them off Amazon. Some of the bigger ones, I just buy off Amazon. Number 10. Periphery 4 Hail Stand. Came out in April of this year, 2019. It's my first experience with Periphery. One thing I like about Periphery as a band, they seem to be just a bunch of, geeks and nerds. They do a lot of their own self-produced. They seem to be very open about, here's how we record, here's how we do it, here's our gear. When we're not talking about that, we're going to sit here and play Pokemon Go and tell you about that. They're a pretty heavy band. They're kind of interesting mix. The new djenty stuff, metal, prog metal, a little bit of emo, new metal. The singer does both screams as well as clean, so it's nice to have both. And if you'll look at the image here, it's funny. I've caught a few friends when I saw the title, I kind of snickered. Hail Stan, that's funny. A few people are like, Dave, what are you listening to? Oh, Stan. But if you look really closely at the image, you actually do see Baphomet sitting in the background there behind the circles. Yeah. Anyways, number 9, July. Sabaton, Great War. This one I did get off Amazon, which is why it's not open, because this was one that when you buy it, you get like the instant free MP3 downloads. So 2019 has been a year of deep dive into power metal for me. I never was really into power metal too much. There's a couple bands here and there throughout the years. But as far as like a genre, I never really got into them. I like the technical playing and the shredding. But Sabaton's interesting because most power metal is the lyrics are like fantasy, knights and swords and dragons, quite literally, or it's kind of telling a story. Sometimes they're sci-fi based, or they can be modern day, I guess, but a lot of times they're telling a story. Not exactly like a concept album like The Wall or some of the Rush albums, but they're literally telling a story, almost like bards or something. I like history. Had I done more than one semester of college, I probably would have had at least a minor, if not a double major in history. I like historical accounts of war, battles, and historical people throughout military history, which is all Sabaton sings about, is wars and battles and military personnel. How I have not known about these guys for 20 freaking years. This is their 10th album? 9th album. 20 years. And I'm just now discovering them. Some of my favorite songs on here this is all about World War I. The Red Baron, 82nd All the Way, The Attack of the Dead Men. It's pretty cool. Fields of Verdun. Sabaton, if you haven't heard of them, check them out because they're very cool. Number 8, another one that I downloaded mainly because I buy a lot of stuff from Japan, but it can be very expensive, both the media itself and then the shipping. And in this particular case, I think I was going to have to do some proxy shipping. So number 8 is DDrive, Maximum Impact. It came out in May of this year. Here's the picture, hopefully. They're an instrumental-only band, at least on this album. This album is their debut album on the new Marshall Records label. They play all ESP instruments and they use Marshall amplification. Of course, especially now, since they're on the label, that's all they're going to use. They sound good and they're interesting because they're hard rock. Almost classic rock in a way, some of their stuff. But they do have 2 lead guitarists, so they do kind of like the power metal thing where they'll trade off solos and have the harmonized solos and stuff going on. So it's very cool. I actually discovered them indirectly through YouTube recommendations because of all the Bandmaid and Baby Metal and other Japanese bands I was listening to. But I actually found Yuki, the female guitarist, was doing some covers and stuff. And I thought, it's just, she's, a YouTube guitar cover artist, which I'm into. So I watch a lot of those. And I was like, she's pretty good. And then, she's in a band. Well, let me check them out. Oh, she's in a real band. Oh, okay, cool. So anyways, DDrive, Maximum Impact. Very cool. I like the cover art. It's a little samurai there. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be Yuki or if it's just kind of a generic fictional female face, but it's a very cool album cover. Number 7, also digital only, and currently it's the only way you can get it is digital. This is Baby Saster's Fantasia, released in May of 2019. This is her first EP, like a classical background, lots of harpsichords and strings, and then she's shredding away on top of it. So it's literally like neoclassical metal squared, right? Baby Saster's another YouTube cover artist. I've talked about her before. I'm working on a cover of Sweet Gothic Toccata. She's just a phenomenal cover artist. She does a really good job using bias to match all the tones. She programs all the backing tracks. It's really good stuff. She's out of Japan. She's in Tokyo, I believe. She does all kinds of stuff from 80s hair metal, Judas Priest and Iron Maiden and Ozzy Osbourne, Metallica, modern stuff, all kinds of crazy Japanese bands. She's how I discovered Yosei Takiku, Das Feinreich, Unlucky Morpheus, was through watching her covers. Number 6. All right. Bandmaid, Conqueror. This just released on December 11th of 2019. I have an entire unboxing and mini review video of it. I'll put the link up here. So check that out. It's a good album. It's experimental. It sounds a little different for Bandmaid from some of the stuff they've done before. And some of it sounds like the stuff they have done before. So it's interesting. There's a little bit something for everybody on this album. And some of these songs are really good live. Looking forward to seeing them on their, I'm sure, U.S. tour, or later on in 2020, I'm sure, hopefully. They're actually already scheduled to do a festival in Ohio, I think, in July. I'm not into festivals, and I'm definitely not going to road trip for a festival. We'll see what else they're doing around that time, if that's when they'll do some U.S. shows, or if they're just going to do only festivals in the U.S. and Europe, or what. We'll see. They haven't gotten, their tour dates go up to about February, and they're all in Japan right now. Number 5. Voted the 2019 Online Guitar Personality of the Year, and possibly 2 years winning. He might have won it last year too. Is Ola England. His solo album, Master of the Universe. It's an EP. It's got 6 tracks. I got the guitarist package, which came with a little pick tin with a set of picks in it, and it came with backing tracks that you got to download, and it came with, the tab book. Master of the Universe. It's a good album. It's very interesting. Ola is known for, he's been in lots of bands. He's known for playing heavy metal, death metal, thrash, stuff like that. So a lot of people were expecting this to be just the Feared minus the other members, right? It's obviously heavy. Let me just put it this way. One of the songs on here has a very long featured, not like just in the background, but actually as a primary instrument, focused, a baritone saxophone solo. So there you go. Ola England, it's very good. Cerberus is probably my favorite track on here. They're all good. They're all good. Ola England, Master of the Universe. Number 4 just came out in November. The Dark Element. This features Annette Olson, sang on a couple albums for Nightwish. Guitarist is Johnny, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce that last name. He was in Sonata Arctica, I think is how you say it. Annette sung with Nightwish. So this is dark symphonic metal. And to be honest, it sounds like a Nightwish album. So if you like Nightwish, and if you like Annette's vocal style and tones and everything, you should love this album. I do. It's really good. Check it out. And it's another one. I got this one off Amazon, the instant download stuff, so that's why this one's not open. But yes, it's a very good album. April of this year, Bandmaiko. Technically, it's Bandmaid. They do actually treat this as a full side project. They actually even register it separately. They track the stats separately. You have to find the album by searching for Bandmaiko. I don't think it always links when you find Bandmaid, the limited edition, because it's got a DVD in here with some behind the scenes of the video. So the story here is that every year, not every year, but the last couple of years on April 1st, they get all dressed up as maikos, which are apprentice geisha. So for those of us in the West who aren't as familiar with it, we think of geishas and we think of the fancy hair, the white makeup, the really fancy kimonos. Those are actually generally the maikos that you're seeing. The geishas are usually not nearly as fancy unless they're doing something very fancy, in which case they're very fancy. So anyways, they dress up as maikos, and the first one was Secret My Lips. It's like a remix, right? They add in traditional instruments, and they make a video with them all dressed up, and it's a very pretty video. Saiki actually re-recorded the lyrics. In Kyoto, the geishas and the maikos apparently speak with a very particular dialect and have a very specific way of talking. And from what I've been able to determine, it's kind of like when we have like a modern day movie, but it's all Shakespearean. How art thou? So it's like that in a way. So they actually re-record a lot of the lyrics and have her sing like the Geishas actually would. So this year they actually made a dedicated song. It's all about life as a maiko. It's pretty funny. But then this is a whole EP of remixes of some of their other songs. It's got Secret My Lips on it. It's got a version of One and Only, a version of YOLO. Awkward, I think, is on here. It's really fun. It's just fun to listen to. The traditional instruments are great, and the extra chants and stuff they do in the background and everything is just fun. And yeah, this is a really pretty album cover, you know, with the kind of the iconic wave painting. And the paper in there is like this textured heavyweight paper. It's got one of these cardboard sleeves on it. And I noticed a lot of stuff from Japan has that on there, limited editions and stuff. So I try to keep it, but it's hard to keep track of it without the wrapper. So I very carefully sliced this open with a razor blade and slid out the CD. So anyways, that's number 3 for 2019. Number 2, I'm wearing the shirt, Glory Hammer, Tales from Beyond the Galactic Terror Vortex. And yes, it's autographed. So you've got Angus McFife the 13th, you've got Zargothrax, you've got Ned Hootsman, and the others on there. This is actually a double. It comes with a instrumental version of the album. This launched right at the end of May 2019. I think it was like May 30th. And at the beginning of May, they released the Glory Hammer video. You should go watch that. I'll probably have links for all this stuff down in the description. They're power metal. They're very good. But their lyrics... Okay, so they've got 3 albums. This is the 3rd album. Across the albums, they've got this epic story. And it's a D&D meets Warhammer campaign gone totally off the rail. Some of the lyrics are just absolutely absurd. People melt into liquid ice. At one point, they launch missiles of nuclear justice. They've got laser-powered goblin-smashing hammers. They've got the power of laser dragon fire. You know, jetpacks made of cosmic steel and just all kinds of stuff. It's just nuts. But it's very well done, and they're all very talented musicians, so the music is great as well. So it's funny, and it's a lot of fun to listen to. So I got into them quite a bit. Like I said, they kind of really kicked off the power metal dive for me this year. That was number 2. Number 1. Now, this is the album that came out actually in September of 2018. Could be one of those life-changing albums. Unlucky Morpheus. Change of Generation. It's another one of those. It's got the sleeve. Unlucky Morpheus is an interesting band. So they got their start doing Tohu arrangements. It's a video game series, or at least a type of video game. I think it's like the bullet hells, right? So you got the character like Galaga, you know, there's just stuff all over the screen and you're dodging the bullets and shooting. Obviously, in the background of those video games, you know, you got the crazy fast MIDI music going along. So they would reinterpret that music, play it on real instruments. I think when they actually got their start, it was a lot of VSTs and synthesizers and Sheeran shredding away on guitar and Fuki providing the vocals. For various reasons, obviously, they don't sell those outside of Japan. And as I understand it, even within Japan, they can't really sell them. So like you pick them up at shows and stuff. So it's kind of like a weird form of like bootleg in a way, because there's probably tons of copyright issues and stuff. This album is great. Melodic, dark, gothic, technical, speed, thrash, with hints of death metal. Fantastic work on this album. I'm doing a cover of Kizase, actually. I'll post the link up here. Please watch it. I worked pretty hard on it. Pretty proud of it. And they're going to put out Tab for Black Pentagram and Change of Generation. That's what Jinya and I think Sharon also made a post about it. I don't know if it's going to be like a book or if they're just going to like post it somewhere on a Google Drive and you'll be able to download a PDF or something. I don't know. Very cool stuff. Power metal, if you like fast technical stuff. And it's not just simply shredding. Sharon's really good at composing, and his solos and stuff are still very melodic. They're just blazingly fast, and he uses all kinds of techniques, tapping and sweeping and crazy stuff. So check them out. My number 1 for this year, I would listen to it practically every day. Change of Generation by Unlucky Morpheus. So those are my top 10 albums of 2019. What are some of yours? Throw them up down in the comments below. Do you have these? Have you listened to some of these? Let me know what you think of them, where they might rank on your top 10. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll check you out next time. Thanks.